And we're rolling. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Desiree and I post videos weekly, ideally. You know, a lot has happened, and so we're gonna get into that today. But today's video is why I have chosen to leave my role as a cast member at the Disneyland Resort. I do want to say quickly, I do not speak for the brand or the company, and this was my third time working for the company, so obviously I love Disney. I will still be visiting. I plan on getting a Magic Key Pass. I plan on continuing with my Disney content. I adore Disney. I love it with all my heart and soul. It just wasn't the right fit for me at the moment, and I think I underestimated that. So to backtrack a little bit and kind of what I spoke to in my fitness vlog last week was the fact that, you know, I've been through a lot of changes recently, a lot of changes. And when I took the role at Disney, I was so excited and eager, and I honestly didn't know how I was going to make some of it work, but I figured in my life especially, everything has always kind of found a way, or I'll say it like this. Everything in my life has either found its way to work out or found its way out of my life. And those are things that have been true throughout as long as I can remember. That's just how things go in my life. So I always trust that whatever's going to happen is going to happen, and it's going to happen in the way that it has to, and I'm not going to argue with it much more than that, I think. In the case of Disney, I was so excited. I was so excited to be offered an attractions role. I cried when I got rehired, y'all. Like, I was excited. But there were some pretty big obstacles in order for me to be able to complete training and everything like that. When I applied for a casual regular position, which is part-time in Disney terms, I was applying with the concept that part-timers at Disney World when I was a CP were barely getting scheduled hours, like barely. And I already have a job here in my area that is close, that I'm at like 4 or 5 days a week. And so I didn't want something that was going to be excessive or scheduling me 5 days a week. I knew that it was peak season, and I was told that once peak season was over, casual regulars were only expected to be available Friday nights, Saturdays, and Sundays. Obviously holidays and whatnot like that. And so that was my expectation going into it. Training was, in my head, going to be an anomaly, and I don't drive. So being from New York, I don't drive. I have a permit. I failed my first driving test. I have to retake it. As far as I'm concerned, I am working on it. I'm learning how to drive, but it is not there yet. I anticipated having my license before I would have to go through training, so that kind of put a damper on things. What ended up happening was I was taking Ubers almost daily, as well as the bus. And the bus, like the public transportation system in general in LA, is not fantastic. It is not the most reliable, and it also takes like 3 or so hours. So for a shift at like 6 a.m. where I couldn't take the bus, I would have to take an Uber. Or at night, I would have to take an Uber back. Ubers from here to Anaheim are anywhere from 50 to 70 bucks, maybe more. And when I was doing training, it made sense because I'm working 8.5-hour days, I'm making more than what I was spending. And so even if I was like breaking even and like making an extra like 20-40 bucks, I was okay with that because, you know, it wasn't going to be every day. What ended up happening was not that. What ended up happening was that I was getting scheduled after training 5 days a week, even after I switched my availability to only be working on the weekends once Labor Day had passed. That also kind of put a damper on things because now I'm having to be out there for 5 days a week, but I'm also not getting hours because I'm getting scheduled 4-hour shifts. And so not only am I not breaking even, I'm now spending money to get to work that I am not making back. It started to become a pattern where I was spending more money just to get to work than I was making in my paychecks. And that's stressful because I still have bills. My lease does end this month and I just paid my last rental payment. Thank goodness, but I was still paying rent as I was going through all of this. So it kind of was depleting my finances as opposed to adding to them. Which is not what you want from a job necessarily. I started thinking about it, and working for Disney is one of the most magical things, and it is so lovely and heartwarming and refreshing when you get to make someone's day. Like, making magic as a cast member, absolutely unmatched. I am so happy, like so happy being a cast member. However, working through the pandemic, since I did work at a grocery store through the pandemic, and I can speak on that, working through the pandemic has been exhausting. Just dealing with mask mandates and people not, adhering to policies, reminding people to put their masks on, and, getting called names and stuff like that while you're trying to do so. It can be very emotionally taxing, and it was very draining. I, again, love making magic, love being at Disney, love doing all those things, but at the end of the day, I was emotionally and physically exhausted because, I'm traveling 3 hours, 4 hours, whatnot, just to get there and then work a 4-hour shift. So I'm already tired trying to navigate everything first, right? And then I get there and then I'm dealing with all of the emotional exhaustion that it is to be a cast member because you want to give them your 100%. It's not even like it's a requirement necessarily, but that's what you want to do. You want to give them like your 110%. And I felt like sometimes I wasn't able to do that, and that made me really sad because I don't want to affect someone else's day either because I can't give them my full 1,000%. And I'm not saying that all cast members need to do that. I'm just saying personally that's how I operate. I want to give our guests the best experiences possible, and I found myself being able to do that less and less and less. So at this point, I'm spending more money than I'm making. I'm emotionally drained, physically drained, and at the time, I'm in a relationship that's negatively impacting my mental health. My PCOS is acting up. I'm trying to transition onto birth control. If you don't know what PCOS is, it's polycystic ovarian syndrome. It's categorized by irregular periods, and then cysts that grow in your ovaries that cause really bad cramps, bleeding, X, Y, and Z, this, that, and the third. And so it's a lot. So I'm emotionally, physically, just everything, just exhausted and depleted on a daily basis. To give you some background, some premise, the whole point of me moving back into my mom's house is to have more time to focus on myself and my career. So for those of you who don't know on this channel, I would like to be a musician. I would call myself a musician. I'm a singer, I'm a songwriter, and I have just wanted time to actually delve into that and take vocal lessons and take bass lessons because I've been self-taught my whole life and see what I would be capable of if I had some proper training and devotion into myself. I've made a lot of progress as a person, and I just really would love the space and the time to be able to do that and focus on that and be on here on YouTube and make videos and content and do social media, and that's kind of what I like doing. I like performing and entertaining, and those are my things. It's no surprise that I love Disney, obviously. But, at that point in time, I'm just fully depleted, and now I don't have time to do anything else. So, and I also, there was a period of time where I didn't have a day off for 3 weeks or 2 or 3 weeks, and it was bonkers. Like, it really wrecked me. It really did. And I had little to no time to recover. And then I broke up with my boyfriend at the time. So, and then dealing with the breakup and dealing with the emotional side of that, moving someone out of your place and processing your emotions and coping with that, and being single for the first time in over a year, and just all of this stuff was happening. And I think Disney and the concept of having to work this job that is so emotionally taxing when I have 0 to negative amounts of emotion and energy to devote to it, it just became such a daunting thing for me. And the amount of times I had to call out for different things, I lost my voice at some point from stress, and I was so anxious. I was having so many panic attacks, and I was in pain, and there was just so many times where I just had to call out for my sanity, or because I couldn't move or I couldn't talk, and it got too much. And for those of you who don't know, Disney has a point system, and they are very understanding and very lovely to work with, but it is stressful having to keep in mind how many times I've called out when I've done this, if they're going to automatically ask me to separate, or and so it weighed on me so much. And I think I just reached a point where I realized I am under so much stress that I don't have to be under, because it's my choice whether I want to stay with the company or not. And it does feel very short-lived, and I'm sure some people are surprised and some people are not, because I do tend to do things and sometimes are like, oh wait, no, this isn't working out, so I guess we're gonna stop. And for a period of time, honestly, I judged myself for that, because it feels very inconsistent and it feels like I don't follow through on things. But I'm also not going to keep myself in situations just because I'm afraid of other people thinking that I'm inconsistent or can't follow through on things. That doesn't make sense to me. I tried it. I did it. I dedicated myself to it. I didn't like it. I didn't want to do it. I stopped. Moral of the story. I change my mind every other day about what I want to do, or how I want to do it, or what format I want to do it in. And it could very well be that I decide tomorrow, you know what, I want to be a lawyer, and stop everything, go to law school, and call it a day. That's not going to happen. But if that were the case, that would be the case. And if I decided to try it and it didn't work out, guess what? I'd change my mind again. Because it's kind of stupid to me to force yourself to do things just because you think that that's what other people want you to do. So I just want to say, for anyone, because that got a little heated, a little charged, I have emotions about that, but I do just want to say, for anyone who's struggling with that, understand that mental health is so valid. People don't see how much you go through when you're struggling with mental health issues, and how much it can physically affect you, or physical issues that go behind the scenes because no one can see them either. Both are hard, both are tiring, both are exhausting. Both deserve their space and time. And if you feel like you're doing something that doesn't serve you anymore, but you're afraid of what other people might think, screw them, because they don't matter. You're what matters, and you're the person who has to live with your decisions. So you might as well make them for yourself. It's the best piece of advice I could give you. So at this point in time, I am choosing to separate from Disney for a third time, which is, again, sad. But at the end of the day, I value my mental health, and I value what I want to do with my life, and I value the time and space that I need to dedicate to those things in order to do them properly, now that I have a little bit more freedom to be able to do them. Those are basically the reasons. I had a conversation sometime last week that officially separated me from the company, and my leader, who was very, very nice, very understanding about the whole situation, did tell me that if I wanted to, I can reapply in 6 months. So, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be the last time that I work for the company. I think at this point in time, it is for me. I think that I've realized that where I'm headed and the path that I'm going on, I don't think being a cast member is something that would fit in to that life, but Disney does, you know. I fully intend on getting a Magic Key Pass. I fully plan on visiting my coworkers that became my friends so fast, and I do want to say, like, I loved working in Fantasyland. Like, working behind the castle was very magical for me, and working on these classics and learning about them and the fun facts, like, I fell in love with Casey Jr. and 6 months ago I never even stepped foot in the parks. Apparently I did when I was like 3, but I don't think that counts. To my knowledge, or to my remembrance, I had never stepped foot inside of the park. So just developing the love for the classics and the love for like the circus train, and just like creating all these memories and attachments to this place that I now love more than Disney World. Probably not, but I love and adore, and I'm just so grateful to have had this experience. Clearly, again, this was a hard decision, and I haven't fully processed it out loud yet, so this is what that is, but I've adored it. I've loved it, and I can't wait to keep exploring the parks and making new friends through visiting and getting a Magic Key and trying all the stuff and seeing the holidays and actually being close to a Disney park. I mean, that's partially why I'm here. Disney's one of those things that even if it doesn't work out, and even if you didn't have the best time, you still miss it and you're still attached to it because it's so special and unique, the kind of bond that happens when you're a cast member to the company. It's just, it truly is magical. I know that was cheesy as all hell, but you know, it is. And to all my lovely friends who are still cast members, I love you all. I spoke to someone on Instagram the other day who had messaged me for pros and cons of working for the company and, you know, being a cast member. And there are a decent amount of on both sides. I think that I will probably make a video on those, like my personal pros and cons, just because now that I've worked for Disneyland and Disney World, I kind of have a better understanding of what being a cast member looks like on both sides of the coin, and there is a significant lack of cast member content from Disneyland, so I definitely want to do a pros and cons video for that, so I guess keep your eyes peeled for that. But I think at the end of the day, like I said, just because I chose to separate from the company doesn't mean that I don't love the company, and doesn't mean that I don't love working for the company, which I do. It doesn't mean I wouldn't consider working for them again. It really just came down to, it just didn't make sense for me to be a cast member anymore. It made more sense for me to be a Magic Key holder. That was it. I love the parks, I love the magic, and I can't wait to experience that as someone who doesn't work there, which is so strange. But you know, I can't wait to just continue to live in the magic and create content and have that for you guys. And now that I have more free time, I can do things more consistently. So yeah, what a good therapy session. Thank you guys. That'll be $30, right? Just kidding. It's normally a $40 copay. I don't know what I'm saying, 30. So that is basically everything in terms of why I'm separating from the Disney company. Like I said, it's not my time, it's not my fit. And I'm really grateful to have had every opportunity to work for the company. If you want videos on what it was like working at Disney World or working for the Disney store, because I've done all three, although I guess the Disney stores are dying now, but I worked at the one in Times Square, so maybe that one will stay. Yeah, also it's really sad what's happening to the Disney stores. But we're not going to get into that in this video because that's not what this is about. That's basically everything. I will obviously be creating more videos, more Disney content, talking more about what it's like to work there. It's not that my cast member content is necessarily going to be over. It's just letting you know that I'm not one anymore. So I can backtrack and talk about things because it just happened, like I just separated, but you know, moving forward there's not going to be like new cast member things to talk about, if that makes sense. But that's going to be it for me today, y'all. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Like I said, I'll be posting new videos every Wednesday and Friday, and there's a lot of content coming up that you won't want to miss, so be sure to subscribe and then you'll know when I release it. Make sure to like this video, give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and if you have any questions, comments, concerns, tips, suggestions, anything of that sort, please make sure to leave a comment below and I will do my best to get back to you. I think I have responded to everyone who's commented on my Disney videos so far, so I will do my best to respond to you within a timely manner. Other than that, like I said, if there's anything you want to see or know about, if you have any questions you want to see in a video fully explain X, Y, and Z, you can always DM me on my Instagram, which I will put down below. It's at Desiree in Disneyland, I think, but I'll put it in the description box below. And until next time, bye. Perfectly splendid. Here's what to look forward to. So good, so good. Spend my quid, yeah? Cheers. Nick Miller, Nick Miller.